first of all, the protocol isn't actually even yet being implemented, and it's because it's all been put into cold storage while we try and manage it. Were it to be implemented, it would do even more damage, diverting trade, and that is upsetting the balance of the Belfast Good Friday Agreement. You've got a problem at the moment, which is that in Northern Ireland, the Stormont Assembly, the government of Northern Ireland, can't meet because of the effects of the protocol. What it does is it creates unnecessary barriers on trade east-west. What we can do is fix that. It's not a big deal. We can fix it in such a way as to remove those bureaucratic barriers, but without putting up barriers on trade moving north-south in the island of Ireland as well. That's what we want to do. And so in terms of the strategy, the overarching objective, the primary thing we got to do is make sure that we protect the balance of the Belfast Good Friday Agreement. And that means respecting trade east-west between GB and NI, but also trade north-south between Northern Ireland.
So what would you say to those Conservative MPs who are thinking of voting against this, who think that you are potentially breaking international law and could spark a trade war?
I think our higher and our main international obligation is to the Belfast Good Friday Agreement, to the peace process in Northern Ireland, getting that Stormont Assembly up and running again. Northern Ireland is fantastic, but it needs government. It needs, particularly now when people are facing pressures from the global cost of living problems with the energy price spikes, you need a government in Northern Ireland. You need Stormont up and running, so we've got a plan to fix it.
Well, we'll wait and see on that. I'm not sure the DUP is sold. Just two other things, if I can. First of all, the economy.
Yes.
Figures out today, again, negative growth in April. We're facing a recession, aren't we, Prime Minister?
Oh, the UK came out of the COVID pandemic faster than other comparable countries because of the steps that we took. That's why we had the fastest growth in the G7 last year. It's true that other countries are now catching up, and we're seeing the effects of inflation around the world hitting this country as well as everywhere else. But if you look, for instance, at the IMF data, the UK comes back at or near the top of the G7 league very quickly. And the most important thing is we have the fundamentals that are very strong. We've got a situation now where we've got the lowest unemployment since 1974. So the issue for just this business I've been talking to today is incredible courgette, broccoli growing business. What they need is that they need people to come and help them pick the courgettes. Now, that is so different from the economic crises that I remember when I was younger, in the 80s, in the 90s, millions of people on the scrap heap or told they were on the scrap heap because of mass unemployment. That was a total disaster. We're in a different situation now. We've got an inflationary price bump that we've got to get through. We're shielding people, £1,200 for the 8 million most vulnerable households, and I think we'll get through it very strongly indeed.
Maybe not to make a connection between these two issues, but you could have some people who are going to send to Rwanda to come and work here. What is happening? It seems that those figures are collapsing. It's possible that no one's going to be on the flights this week.
So I think I've been very clear that throughout, I think if you go back to the speech I gave about what we were trying to do right at the beginning when we announced the policy, I always said that it would begin with a lot of teething problems and you would have a lot of legal action against it. But and they would try and delay it, and that's inevitable. But what we're trying to do is stop the business model of criminal gangs who are preying on people, moving them across the channel in unseaworthy vessels, risking their lives and sometimes costing their lives. But it's worse than that. What they're doing is undermining people's confidence in legal migration and people's support for legal migration. We have safe and legal routes for people to come into this country. I've just talked about it, for people who to come and work in agriculture or whatever. We have that. It should not be undermined by criminal gangs who are risking people's lives. And that's what the Rwanda policy is all about.